Talk Radio. You're in to all things music.
Welcome to Intersect Radio, where music, faith, and life converge. With your host, Aaron the A-Train Smith.
Howdy and welcome to Intersect Radio today. Thank you all for joining in and tuning in and setting aside some time to listen to this interview. Today we have with Mr. Rico Thomas, guitar extraordinaire. Rico was here with us maybe about 6 episodes ago, and he called me up on the phone Friday, I believe, to invite me to one of his shows, which I couldn't go to, unfortunately. But I said, Rico, have you ever been on my radio show? And he goes, yes, I have. And I went, that's right, you have.
You loosened your memory.
That's right, you have. Would you want to come on again? Tuesday?
Part 2.
And here he is, folks.
That's
one
right.
of the busiest men in show business.
On my day off, here I am.
Yeah. Mr. Rico Thomas. How you doing,
Yes,
man?
sir. Oh, man, Aaron. Doing amazing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little lack of sleep. You know, the tour's been just rolling along, and we're just jamming on it. So
Is that Winter Jam?
yeah, winter jam.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, we have a few days off during the week. So I come home and usually work those few days.
Mm-hmm.
But
How
yeah.
deep are you into the Winter Jam tour?
Well, we've got, let's put it this way, probably 3 more weeks.
Wow.
So it's a 3-month tour.
Wow.
Started beginning of January, and it's been rolling along, man. It's crazy. This is the end of our busy season for NewSong, so we've been hitting it since the summer until now. It looks like we're going to go all the way through April, I think, with 2 more tours right after this one. So it's been a season.
So how's the tour doing?
It's doing amazing. Great crowds, man. I mean, it's people are lining up at 10 in the morning to sit out there and wait all day to come into Winter Jam. It's not a ticketed event. It's a just show up, first come, first serve.
Really?
Yes. So
Is it still $10?
no, it's 15 now.
It's $15.
Yeah. So it went. It went up just because of the cost of everything,
Yeah.
to keep it going.
Well,
but
$15, that's still not bad.
not bad for like 10 artists
Yeah.
one night. Yeah.
Wow, 10 now? You got 10 artists?
we have 10 artists.
Okay,
yeah.
so who's on board right now?
Yeah. So basically, it's a huge lineup, man. It's pretty awesome. Adam Agee, he's a singer that used to be in Stellar Cart and with Audio Adrenaline years ago. He's doing a solo thing now, so he's opening the night. We've got Manic Drive, they're a Canadian band from Canada. It's really interesting. They're a band that has won a bunch of awards over the last 10 years. They've been together forever. They're killer. They actually open up the night, but they I don't even think they have a record company.
Huh.
They've just been doing it all on their own. So it's a couple of brothers, yeah.
Cool.
And so then we got Ty Brazel, rap artist. We got Dan Bremis, Holland, NewSong, Jen Ledger, who is a drummer from Skillet. So they're a big rock band and Christian music.
Yeah.
So she's out. Rent Collective is out. Really killer. They're from Ireland. Really interesting band. Real organic.
Who is that? Which one?
Rent Collective. Rent Collective. Yeah, they're really enjoying their music. And of course, we have Mandisa from American Idol. She was one of the top 5 artists in American Idol, and Danny Goki from American Idol. They're both just amazing singers. I've had the privilege over the years to work with both of them as well. And then closing the night, we've got Newsboys United. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So if you remember, of course, you know Michael Tate.
Yeah.
good friends of
Tate?
ours.
Yeah, and Peter.
Yes, Peter.
Yeah. Okay.
Peter's
cool,
back, man. It's right. Phil Joel too. Remember Phil Joel, the bass player?
Uh-huh.
So Phil and
That's
Peter.
right. Phil's back.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And they come back and they come halfway through the set and they do a bunch of old Newsboys tunes.
I saw somebody posted a show you guys did the other night where what's the drummer's name with Newsboys?
Duncan.
Duncan
Phillips. Yeah.
Duncan Phillips?
Yes, Duncan Phillips.
Yes. Where he was on that riser that goes sideways
Yes.
and stuff.
Oh, my Lord. Do you think he could do that?
Well, at first I couldn't eat before that, and then I'm sure he's buckled down pretty tight.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. His whole set's just tied down.
Yeah.
And I asked him the other day about that. I go, man, your core muscles must be amazing. I mean, because he is.
To keep him in place. Huh?
Yeah. He's looking straight down at the floor while he's sitting on his drum set playing. And then I see him, he'll like raise his upper body backwards, just probably to get some blood in his head again. And then he'll go back down and he'll start tearing it up. And then he comes back up again. Man, it's a show. And on this one, they have Peter and him on drums.
Oh, really?
So they do Jesus Freak,
which
you played on that record, that DC Talk record. So they're doing their rendition of Jesus Freak. And so they do a little drum battle back and forth, which has been really fun.
Great.
Yeah, man.
Great. So they have two risers.
Risers.
But they don't have two moving risers.
No.
Just the one.
Yeah. But
Dang.
it's pretty intense, man. It's besides the great music out there, we got some great speakers. Greg Steer and Zane Black from Dare to Share Ministries, and they're our speakers. And the way we're able to do a big show like this, as well as just keeping it going, is the sponsorship that we have. We have amazing sponsorship on Winter Jam. We have people like Samaritan Ministries, Chick-fil-A, Liberty University, Christian College, Camp Electric, which Toby's school for musicians.
Right.
Kids come there, and we have Child Fund, which is like an organization that you sponsor children for. Usually we have Halt International, but this year we have Child Fund because they're actually connected to the Newsboys. So they came out with those.
Right.
So a lot of great things happening out there, with the tour. But it blows your mind, man. It's let me tell you how it goes. It goes back to since we're speaking about Winter Jam. It started years ago in the early '90s as January Jam. And I guess NewSong, Eddie Carswell and Billy, they had this idea about touring in January when nobody else did. And so they said, let's just, get a place and do this. And they charged like $3 a head. And it was an amazing turnout. So then they just started doing this, I think it was like once a week or something. And it just kept growing and growing over years. And they go, man, we got something here. So they kept doing it. And finally, it just got to a point where they got up to like the $10 fee to come in. And the great thing about Winter Jam is if you don't have money, you can still come. So it's like, hey, it's like a donation. If you have it and sure, come in. But if you just say, man, I've got like $3 or $5 and I'm just broke and I'm down and out and I'd love to come in, we just let people come in.
Cool.
Yeah,
you just stand in line.
That's right, stand in line.
And when your turn comes to the door, if you don't got the money, you just say, "This is all I got."
This is all I got.
Wow, that's great.
I've brought people in off the streets that I've met.
Yeah,
homeless people. Yeah, people that were just, they, hey, what is this? And I tell them about it, and they say, man, I would just love to come in. I just feel led to come in, and so I'll just go up, walk them in, and bring them in. And
that's great, man.
The tour has outpaced the attendance for all other tours in 2011, including Bon Jovi, U2, Lady Gaga, Brad Paisley, Justin Bieber, worldwide. I mean, it just outnumbered everybody. There were like 90,000 decisions for Christ in the first quarter of that tour, yeah.
So how do you do that? Who does the altar call? One of the speakers? Or?
Yeah, one of the speakers, and they come up, and then we would bring people in the back. we have long lines just coming down the aisles to the back into a big room in back of the venue. Yeah, and our pastor, we got a road pastor out there as well, and they just all get involved in all that stuff.
So at what point of the show do the speakers come on?
It's sort of in the middle of the night. We'll have the child fund speaker come up, and then we'll have our Greg will come up and speak, or Zane, and just minister to the kids. It just through the night, but they're there all night ministering. They're just not on stage ministering. I mean, they're actually up in the up at the tables and walking around the venues, like Pastor Bobby Joyner. That's what he does. He just goes around and prays for people, like on tour, and he'll just he'll come up to us, and even us. I mean, even the band. He'll come up to the artist and just pray before we go on stage. And yeah, it's amazing. It's a big family out there on Winter Jam. We've known a lot of the people that come out and that work at the tour. We've known for years, and different artists that have come out. And we're all just, we're all friends. We might not see someone for a couple of years, like Newsboys kind of been rotating every other year or so. Skillet, some of these kind of bands like them, and for King and Country, and just, just many different artists. Anyone who's anybody in Christian music, is usually on that tour.
Yeah. That one time I saw you here at Bridgestone, that's when I first saw for King and Country.
That's right. Remember that? And they were probably at that time opening up for us.
Yeah, they were.
I mean, it was amazing. I think within that first year, they got huge.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Lauren Daigle. Lauren Daigle is just blown up.
Really?
Yep. She came out. She was just like I think first, second artist, whatever it was, Winter Jam, lights down, and all of a sudden now her career has taken off. I mean, she's huge.
What do you think it is that makes a group or a solo artist kind of blow up like that? Over a span of 8 or 9 months.
Yeah, that quick, huh?
Yeah.
I've seen it a few times. I don't know. I think it's just the pop sensibility in their music sometimes. Of course, great songwriting, great production, but sometimes just stuff can reach other areas in the industry for some reason. It's a little bit more of a universal message that kind of crosses over. So I've seen that kind of happen where, it just appeals to the secular world as well. So I don't know. It's hard. I think, of course, God has His hand on all this. I believe in some way or another.
Right.
Lauren Daigle didn't see herself as a Christian artist really doing that, but she was out here. She made a Christian record, but I guess maybe her vision was to, be a little bit more worldly with her music, and that's what's going on with her. So,
cool.
Yeah, it's just you never know,
Yeah,
you never know it's going to take off, and it's a platform. Winter Jam is a platform. It started out as a sampling tour, meaning, all these different artists would come on board, and you'd play 20 minutes, and we'd go through different cities. You have a new audience. They would see you play and they go, man, I love that group, or I love that group. So when they come back through here touring, I want to go see them. So it's kind of set up for that. That's why everyone plays so short. It's not anyone's tour. Well, we call it God's tour.
Yeah.
Will the headliner, right? So,
so how long do the acts play now?
Well, someone like the Newsboys will have a closer, will play maybe about 40 minutes, 45 or something. And then some artists might play 30, some play 20, and then the lights down artists might play 10 minutes. So
what's the lights? What do you mean?
I mean
lights
up artists. I'm sorry, that would be the first three. Like when people are coming in,
right.
We start out the night with a Q&A for. We have ticket prices that you can come in early, and it's called Jam Nation passes. So what happens with Jam Nation is you can come in, you might get a T-shirt and some other little things and gifts, and then you get to listen to Q&A from the artist. So every night we have different artists come out and speak, and you can ask questions, And so that I think that's like $49 a ticket, but you don't have to wait all day in line. So you come in before anyone, you can sit where you want, and then we have our guest line that comes in after that, But yeah, so I think Word bought up those early spots some time ago, so they can get their artists out there.
Right.
So usually there's 3 artists, that are just starting out in a new record. And so we'll let them do their thing, and then that's done, and then we'll start right into the night, It's a long night.
Yeah.
It's like
10 acts.
It's like 4 hours, maybe 4:15. We've been going about 15 minutes late every night.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So the solo singers, the like the new people from American Idol and stuff.
Yeah.
Do they have a band, or do you have a house band? Or how that
well,
works?
they used to come out. They would come out, and we would, a lot of times they'd ask us to back them, so we would play for them. But now that they're doing their own stuff, they've been bringing their own band. So like Danny Goki and all them guys have their own band, and Mandisa, and the Killer Bands are there. But at first, usually when we have people come out like that are new, a lot of times we will back them sometimes and play for them. It's just easier that sometimes.
Yeah. How big is your crew?
Oh gosh, I think there's 100. There's 160 people on the tour or something.
Yeah. Changing stage.
Yeah, man.
Do you use the same drum kit or what?
Well, good question. Actually, Jack, our drummer, has. Is it CB, the drum company? Is it CB?
CB 1100.
Yeah. So they endorse him. They gave him a set. It's a wonderful sounding set. He leaves that up all night on stage, and other drummers do use it. I think we're rolling a lot of stuff on risers now, up and down, because we're playing in the round. We're doing like a 360, like the U2 thing, So there's a few drummers that say, "Man, I got to use my kit," So there's a couple guys use their own, but they bring their own, maybe snare
and cymbals,
maybe cymbal, hat, or whatever they want.
Pedal or something like that.
Yeah. They want to change up real quick, but the turnover time is so fast, man.
Yeah.
It's just like 8 minutes, you're already into the next artist. That's how we could cram all those groups in one night.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, that crew must be exhausted.
Oh, God Almighty! Yeah, they sleep like 4 or 5 hours a night. Seriously, I mean, you do that 4 nights in a row.
So that's what you do. You do 4 nights in a row.
4 nights every week.
Wow.
Yeah. So that means 5 nights sleeping on the bus a week.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Dude.
But
so you wake up, you're at the venue.
Yeah, man. We wake up, we're there. Well, unlike we just did the Nashville show, we had the Whale Coffee Shop there. We'll plug for the Whale, of course. They're an awesome ministry, right? A lot of that money that coffee shop goes to building whales and stuff in Africa and all that. So,
what's the name of that coffee shop that does that here in Nashville?
The
Whale.
It's the Whale. Yeah, the Whale.
It's over by Belmont. I was there the other day.
There's one on Old Hickory Boulevard, Brentwood. There's one downtown now, and there's one in the Lifeway store, I think, in Cool Springs. They just put one in there. So anyway, they came down and they set up, but they didn't come until about 5:30. So I already been out for coffee that day. So I came back. I'm like, oh my gosh. So
Would they set up backstage for you guys?
Yeah, just free coffee, free whatever you want.
Cool.
Lattes. And,
cool.
They
had a barista there.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So we just were having a coffee party all night. So I did not sleep. Like that whole night, we were driving to Kentucky to do the next show. And I was up tossing and turning all night in my bed until 6 a.m. when we got there. Finally, just on the bus stop, man, I crashed out for about 4 or 5 hours, and then continued. But yeah, it kind of jacked me up a little bit. But we're a bunch of coffee fiends, out there, man. We're always finding coffee shops and fellowshipping that way.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah,
that's quite the. It's kind of rugged. Sleeping on the bus that many nights a week.
Yeah.
But then how long do you have in between tours? Like winter jam, summer jam. Do you do a spring jam as well?
Well, We used to do Summer Jam, which we don't do anymore. But so now we take, after about like April, May, we start taking a little more time off. So we're doing like an Easter tour in April after Winter Jam. And then we're doing, at the end of the month, we're doing it's called the Greatest Hits Live Tour. And it's like, and you remember all these artists. We got like Avalon, Point of Grace, Bob Carlyle, Nicole C. Mullen, Rebecca St. James.
Wow.
Yeah, and us and someone like, it's like crazy. So I play for all the artists.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
Man, so remember we used to call Nicole Miss Ross.
Yes. Now you played on that record with us, right? Did you play on some of her record?
Some of her record?
Yeah, Nicole Mullins. I thought you might have played on some.
I don't remember.
You probably did.
I don't remember.
Like Craig Young, you and me.
Yeah.
And keyboard player friend of ours, Carl
Ferguson. Yeah.
I think you may have, but yeah.
I probably did. I my most memorable thing that I ever did with her was Larry Boy for VeggieTales.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, that's right.
That was so much fun.
That was.
We were doing a few of those tracks back in the day, weren't we?
David was like booking a bunch of stuff. I don't know. Yeah, he was a bunch. We did some Irish stuff once and that we thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Never heard it.
Yeah.
But, that studio that used to be over right by 440 and West End.
Oh, yeah. 440 West End. I'm trying to think of what it was.
That glass building there. There used to be a little small studio in there.
Okay. Well, that was over near where Sparrow used to be, wasn't it, years ago?
Yeah.
I think Sparrow was right there, the old one, Sparrow.
Yeah. So when you finish Winter Jam, you're going to do the Easter tour. And is that just NewSong?
It's just NewSong. We're probably bringing someone else out with us on that, but it's going to be very small. It's probably going to be 4 dates or something.
Okay. Yeah. And what venues?
It'll just be probably churches, mostly, I would think, because it's more of a church thing.
Is it a big production, like with video and
all
that sort of stuff?
We bring out our own production lights and sound and all that stuff. So it's it's good sized churches too. It could be 1,000, 1,500 seaters. So we got stuff to cover all that. We got our show for the size, and we do our own stuff like that is amazing. We got great sound and great sound man. I mean, Jerry Holcomb is just he's one of the best out there. So and then after the Easter tour is that other tour. What is it called? The Greatest Hits.
The Greatest Hits.
Tour.
And when will that start?
Probably about the 23rd or 4th of April.
And go for how long?
It's going to be like, I think 4 days a week, just probably a couple weeks. I think it's probably about 8 shows, 8 or 9 or something. Okay. And so it's very short. We already did the fall version of it already. So we did the first half then, and now we're doing up the second half.
And what were those venues?
They were churches, maybe an auditorium or two. Those are nice to play in. I love old auditoriums.
And everybody is responsible for their transportation.
Well, we have our buses that come out.
Yeah.
So we have tour buses and all that. So there's buses on there.
All right.
I'm not sure what they've worked out for them, but usually everyone's on a bus.
So you travel together.
Yeah. And Bob Carlyle is still in Vegas, so he flies and he stays for that time. At least he did last time. So
Carlisle's still in Vegas, huh?
He is. Yes.
Huh. I thought he went back to L.A. for some reason.
No, he's still
cool, still
there. So we're hoping to.
He's doing Butterfly Kisses, of course.
He is, of course. He is. Yep. He can still sing. He goes, I haven't been singing for years, but he came out and he got it together, and it was amazing. So.
Okay.
Yeah. And just playing with all those old tunes all the hits, from all those artists. Just big songs all night long.
Yeah.
It's really enjoyable.
And Nicole's song was "I Know My Redeemer Lives."
Yeah, Redeemer Lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cool.
that was always fun, doing all that.
That's great.
Yeah.
So were these same people on the first half that are in the second half?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
There might be a few sub-dates from Point of Grace, maybe, I heard. So we'll see.
Point
Someone
of
else
Grace.
coming in, and
Wow.
yeah. All those chord changes.
And Avalon, you say?
Did
you say
Avalon?
Avalon?
Yeah.
You know, Brent Bourgeois produced some of Point of Grace stuff.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. I did this session with Jim.
Not Daneker.
No, Jim. Yikes! I can't think of his last name. He's one of those new age piano players. Jim Beckman.
Oh, Beekman?
Somebody
I think I
like
get
that.
Yeah.
He was doing a Christmas record.
Yes.
He came here to do a tune with Point of Grace and Brickman. Jim Brickman.
That's what it is.
Yeah, Jim Brickman.
Sure.
And Point of Grace sang on it, and I played drums on it, and it was a great session, but it started off really bad because Jim had come into the studio and we were recording. So he's an artist that was accustomed to playing by himself, you know? And, of course, you know, everybody wanted to use a click track back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of difficult for him. So I think Brent decided to, like, okay, you guys know the song, you know, just lay down the track and have him come back and overdub. You know?
Really?
And so that was how that worked. And,
that's good.
And while we were overdubbing, while we were recording, he went out to his car to get something, and the car had been broken into, and all his stuff was gone.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And so
was this drums? You said, or what was it? Drums?
No, he's the piano player, so he had a computer, his laptop, his luggage, his attaché case with all his stuff in it, you know, hotel key.
Oh, God.
I mean, it was just all gone. So he came running back in the studio and told us that his car had been broken into, and he ran out into the lobby of the studio, and we never saw him again.
Wow. Probably went and killed himself, jumped off a cliff or something.
No, he had to go out, and he was waiting for the police and stuff, and then after that, man, he just never came back in the studio.
Never came back.
No, he finished it, but that day, he was done.
Yeah,
never saw him again.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Someone told me about that the other day. I was doing a session with someone. They said the same thing. They had their stuff in the car, and they went back, and someone broke in while they were in a session. I don't think it was the same session, but it was a similar thing. And that's happening so much, like a lot.
Yeah, too much.
It's a lesson not to leave gear in a car, right?
Yeah, don't leave nothing in the car.
Oh, in L.A., I did that one time. I left a brand new, it was a killer amp. Jim Kelly made this amp, I think it was called. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like a Mesa Boogie, you know, and it was in the backseat of my car. I went into Denny's to eat, and next thing you know, these people were saying, "Hey, was that your car, like, out there?" I said, "Yeah." They go, "Well, some guy just got into it, and he's on a bike, and he's carrying your amp off." Like, oh, my God, dude.
Why didn't you stop him?
Yeah. So I ran out of that thing so fast, and I jumped in my car, and I went through, and it was near projects too, you know. So I'm driving my car all around the neighborhood, and I see this guy on the bike, but he didn't have it in his hand, right? So he saw my car, so he knew it was me looking for him. So he started like pedaling really quick, and I sped up to him, and I stopped right at the driveway of the projects, jumped out of my car, and I chased him down, and I was like about 6 inches from grabbing him, running after him, and I just couldn't get him, and he just kept going, and it was gone. He was gone. But he probably put it in the bushes somewhere, you know. Wow. And he came back. But I was like, I'm going to get this guy.
Well, since we're speaking of stolen gear, I was on the road with Chuck Jackson back in the early 70s, like 69, 70.
Yeah.
And we had a bus. And one night we did this gig down at what used to be Birdland. And Chuck would always kind of disappear after the gig before paying us. So, so we packed up the bus, and our band leader made this call to some friend of Chuck's. And she lived downtown in Manhattan, and we went up to her apartment. It's like on the 14th floor or something. And we parked our bus down on the street. And so one of us woke up that morning and went to the window to yawn, and saw the baggage section open and people taking gear out.
Oh my
and
God.
So start screaming, people taking our equipment. We get up and we run down the stairs, get out there and start chasing people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think we got it all back.
Oh, that's awesome.
But, it's like running through Manhattan traffic.
I can't
at
imagine.
like 8 o'clock in the morning.
You do anything for gear, right?
Yeah.
Get that gear back, man.
People's tires screeching, people slamming their brakes, when you're running in between cars and stuff like that. I think that's the only way we were able to recover our gear, because they couldn't just run straight. They had to dodge traffic and stuff. And so it was incredible.
They worked too hard for that gear, man, back then, them
and
days.
I remember our guitar player was about to punch this one person that was stealing something, and the hat came off, and it was a girl. And he said, "Oh, it's a girl. I'm sorry." He started apologizing.
Oh, gosh.
Dude, she was about to take your guitar.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Anyway,
so
tell us, what do you do when you're not touring?
Oh my gosh!
In between time,
I'm doing a lot of it's been a season, man. Since I've seen you last, but even before for the last year or two, just been a creative season. So I've been working on just music. I just go in and start writing and creating stuff. So a lot of my time is there. I think I've finished about 2 or 3 records or about that since I've seen you, but it's been kind of interesting.
So just at home,
just home projects and just something different, to keep me busy. But besides that, I love just getting out, doing things outdoors.
Are you still doing your martial arts?
Martial arts stuff. Not doing that now. I still train a little bit, but I'm not at school studying or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of keeping in shape and working out. So that's a big part of my life. It just gives me a lot of peace, and it comes, it stems from back in my old young days with Kung Fu and all that. It just relaxes me, and
great.
So So of course, I always read my Bible and just keep my head in the right place. So and that's the thing. I'm such in a different season now with where I've been in my life compared to some of the stuff in the past. Like we worked for artists in the past. We've all done different things, and you always just feel like you're working for an artist. And you're just out there going through the motions, and it's a job, it's work, and whatever. But God has used me in with NewSong and the Winter Jam tour to reach out more and to get me out of my comfort zone. And so
how is that?
It's
speaking to people, or
actually, what happens is like like usually artists, when you work for somebody, they do everything as the artist, whereas with NewSong, it's been like, oh, well, come along, come do radio interviews with us, or come do radio spots, or come up to the table and sign. It's just, and I see it on Winter Jam with other artists that are artists. It's like they're just up there, their band's not up there. Right. So NewSong is, kind of over the years has kind of opened up more about that and just letting, bringing us up there.
More inclusive.
Yeah, putting us on the records, on the face, the records, and all that.
Cool.
And, so it's allowed me to just interact with people that I normally wouldn't interact with, and especially young kids and even adults. You know, like I go to the table just about every night and sign, and I'm the only one at this point with NewSong that's been doing that on Winter Jam. And so I get to get feedback from, our guests that come up.
Right.
And I get to hear stories. I get to hear hardships. I've missed opportunities in the past, so I'm really in tune with it now, to where, someone may come up, share your heart, and go, man, I'm struggling. I'm doing this and this and this. And then you say, man, I'll pray for you. But you don't actually pray for them. Mm-hmm. But later that night, I would pray for everybody. But I'm just saying, you don't at the moment. Right. But I'm seeing a line behind them. I go, well, I can't hold this line and sit here and pray for every single person. So, but lately I've been doing that. I've just been going, if you're reaching out to me and you've got some issues in life, and I am taking that opportunity to say, God put you here for a reason. He brought you to me. So I'm going to use that opportunity. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I'm being more used that way, and also used with our gifts that God's given us on stage to connect to people, to pull them up to the table, And it's just not a self-indulged thing. It's like we're on stage, we're playing for these people, we've got eye contact. I'm pouring out my soul, my heart to them. And so it's good to see the benefits from all that, and when they come up. And like I say, I hear all kinds of stories. We've talked about this before. I've been through, as a young kid, a lot of hardships with drugs and, in and out, trying everything. I was very experimental with everything, in the day. At one point in my life, I almost committed suicide at 15.
Really?
Yes, yeah.
Things were that bad, huh?
It was bad. I'm from a broken family. My mom's been married 3 times, so we were on my my second stepfather. We just moved into a house. There was a swimming pool, and I was still partying and drugs and, all that stuff, drinking a lot and anything I get my hands on back then as a young kid. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what came over me, man. I just went out. I stepped outside one evening and I just looked at the water and I stood over it and I was going to just jump in it and drown myself. Mm. So something, you look back on it and go, what was so bad that I had that feeling of wanting to do that? Mm-hmm. But I understand that, I understand what that feeling is. I don't know, maybe just feeling lack of love from the father, that my real father from, who knows where it all stemmed from. But and then the drugs mess you up, then the peer pressure, being a teenager. I played music through all that, thank God, and that's what grounded me, that kept me going. But, the drugs led to getting into trouble, with police, and, my new stepfather they had to come get me out of jail one night, the next morning, and stuff like that. So I felt really bad, and then they just were like, if you need to clean up, if you don't screw up again, so, well, if you screw up, you're going to be 18 here coming up soon. So, we don't want to be doing this past 18 because you're going to be tried as as
an
adult criminal.
Right.
You don't want that. So just straighten your act up. And so I really did. I got back on track, man. And so going through all these things, I was able to relate to kids now that come up to the table. And I can see after all these years where God's taken that, how he's used me from experience. Because I'm not a theologian. I love God with all my heart. I just do the best I can out there. But I'm able to communicate with them. It's awesome. So
because you can relate.
I can relate to what they're going through with their parents or their drugs or cutting, or all that. And I get young fans. I get 16, 15-year-old guys and girls that they just look up to me, and I encourage them, and they just say that. And they go, man, and musicians come up and that are inspired, and they want to play like you someday. I want to do this, So that's been a big part of Winter Jam, for me, is getting out of that.
So if you were doing all that stuff as a kid, how did you find the time to develop your guitar technique?
I played all the time. I played since I was 7 years old. So I studied very young. I played all the time, high and not high. It didn't matter. Okay. So I just played. Yeah. And I played, and I worked hard at it. And I think a lot of times we played parties on the weekends and stuff, and you'd go on the weekends and you'd like be at parties and you'd be, getting high with your friends and drinking. So I was just there doing my thing, but I was indulging in all the other substances along with it. So yeah, it just came along with it. And then when I started getting my 20s, I was even, with drinking in the clubs and people sending you drinks and all that. That was still going on, and I was still messing around with some stuff, back then. But
so how'd you get out of that?
It never really consumed me. Like I've never been like an addictive person that I've known of anything in my life, other than probably music and God.
Right.
but seriously, man, I've never. But I'm realizing now that I have an addictive thing going on right now with coffee. like what is this? Like I've never been addicted to anything in my life. Yeah, so the last 3 years or so, it's been coffee. But man, it's weird. But yeah, so nothing ever grabbed me enough, and a lot of it was weekend warrior stuff. Let's go out party hard the weekends, and then I was playing in clubs when I was 15 years old. Subbing for my guitar teacher Ronnie Este, playing for Dave Pike. Me and Phil Monroe, another guitar player that we both studied with Ronnie, and they would send us to his gigs playing jazz.
Wow.
So we had to have supervision being there.
Yeah.
But we'd play in clubs, and then I'd be playing with friends in bars, and I was, they would put me in the corner, and it was dark, and they'd say, just sit over here when you're not playing, So a lot of years in clubs, man. I spent tons of years playing clubs. I think every musician should play some years in clubs.
Yeah.
It's so
That's
good.
how I started playing clubs.
Exactly.
I had to stay in the dressing room when I wasn't playing because I was too young. 16.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So play my few songs and sit in the dressing room and drink Coca-Colas until the night was over.
Yeah. I was in Vegas at 18 playing with a professional group that were right out of high school.
Wow.
And in a show, and I was like sitting at the casino, at the slot machines, just sitting there, and then, the waitress coming up, would you like a drink? Like, I guess I looked older than I was. I was tall, and, like, no thanks. And then the leader of the band saw me, goes, you can't be down here. Come on. He would kick me out,
Dang. That's right. Drinks are free in Vegas,
yeah,
right?
That's right.
As long as you're playing.
That's right. I'd sit there and play, quarters or something, It was great.
It's all part of it.
It is, and I don't regret really any of it. I know I've made a lot of mistakes in life, like we all do, and with stuff. But man, it's been part of my makeup. It's been part of my, it helped build me in my integrity for later in life. And so yeah, I look back on it, and go, wow, how did I make it through those times? But God had a plan, man. I mean, really. I mean, there's times where I almost overdosed as a young teenager.
Really?
So yeah. And,
Wow.
And so Paper Acid was a big thing back in the day, and we were at a party playing, and I was doing that all day. I did like 2 hits of it. Then I got to the party, I started drinking, and my stepbrother was there, and we were playing, and I ended up in a room in someone's house. Like I thought I was just freaking out, right? So he came in there, and he helped me out for a bit, and then I remember going back out trying to play with the guys, jamming, because we used to jam all the time, and and I just remember going, I don't even think I could play this thing. I was so messed up. I was probably so sloppy, but probably nobody cared. But you think about that. You think about how did we all get through those times?
Yeah. I remember trying to play one night on acid.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Impossible.
Totally impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it only took that once.
Yeah.
I didn't like acid.
Mm-hmm. I didn't. Oh, I sort of did, because I did it a bit.
I didn't like it because it was total loss of control.
It was, yeah.
And a loss of reality. What's
Yes.
real and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
That inability to distinguish.
Yes.
What's real and what's not.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's like you're in a movie. I thought I was flying through a field. Me and my friend one time, we were just screaming, yelling. I remember we just feel like we were floating,
Mm-hmm.
and we were just crazy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's not really reality.
No, it's not. Do not attempt this at home.
Yeah.
No,
But
it's not,
I was always adventurous, so I was up for trying new things, you know. And you know, being with a lot of older kids in the neighborhood that were bad influences, it wasn't good.
Yeah, I was always the youngest. Now I'm always the oldest.
Yeah, that's how it is for me now. Now we're looking down on the younger kids, like trying to help them out. Don't do this.
Kevin Max and the guys that play in his band, they have this thing where they're getting ready to complain about a gig or something, and they look over at me and they go, I can't complain. Aaron's here.
That is so great.
I don't have anything to complain about. You know?
That's great. Yeah. You're still playing with Kevin some?
He's not playing. He's not complaining.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to do the Jesus Freak tour in June. I mean, nice. Cruise, not tours. Don't you people get excited out there?
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Freak Cruise #2.
Man, that's going to be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We're playing a lot this time. The first one, we only played one night. We did 2 shows one night.
Mm-hmm.
This time, we're playing, I think, almost every night.
Wow.
So I got to get in shape, man.
Well,
I've been working out down at Planet Fitness.
Yeah, you're looking pretty fit there.
Well,
look at you.
You know, I'm only into my 2nd week.
Hey, I'm going to see you down there because I've been going down there too. So yeah,
cool.
I may run into you when this tour's
down
done.
in Gallatin.
Yeah. I'll see you down there.
Cool, man.
But I ran into Todd Collins is on our tour. He's working for someone. Yeah,
and
percussion
I haven't seen
player.
Todd Collins in
Me neither. And we played
decades
on that Jesus Freak tour together, and it was really awesome, man. I said, Todd, I said, I had a board tape from that tour from years ago. He goes, no way, dude. How can I get hold of that? He goes, tell me, how do I get it? So I told him how to get it.
Mm-hmm.
It was like Rico Thomas, guitar player with DC Talk or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he looked it up and he found it, and it's a pretty good board tape.
On YouTube?
Yeah, it's YouTube, okay. And it's only about 7 minutes of the show, but it sounds amazing, and it was from a cassette. So he was so happy to get that.
Yeah, what part of their career were they in then? What record was that?
Jesus Freak just came out.
Okay.
So fall tour, the release of Jesus Freak, and we toured off of that for the 3 months. And then I went right to Smitty after that, Michael D. Smith.
Excellent.
Yeah. But yeah, it was fun times, and he was on that.
Uh-huh.
I remember Will was out there, drummer.
Uh-huh.
And Otto
Will
Price.
Denton?
Yeah, Will Denton, Otto, and Jason, keyboard player, and we had Grits. Grits was out on that tour, the rap group back then. Early rap then, and that was crazy.
I had Coffee on the show not too long ago.
Really?
From Grits.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are they still together?
Yeah, they're still doing stuff. They've kind of like diversified. They're into fashion, into clothing stuff, and and script writing.
Really?
Yeah,
that's
and
cool.
Still doing tunes. I think they are doing a new record. They're either finished with it now or about finished with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, they're still doing stuff.
Yeah, man.
It's cool.
Yeah.
So before we close out here,
yeah, man.
You got any sponsors or anything you want to say thank you to or anything like that?
Yeah. It's been a blessing for me to be playing Gibson Custom Shop guitar. So I've been using a 1960 VOS historic Les Paul, which is just a beautiful, amazing guitar. I've been doing that. Of course, McPherson guitars, acoustic. And there's a new company I'm getting acoustic built right now by Irvin Guitars. He's out in like Oregon area, West Coast. And
how many guitars do you have on stage at night?
I'm only using one right now.
Really?
Usually I bring 2, but I'm usually just one because
it's
only 20
if you
minutes.
Break a string?
I change it real quick, and I don't break strings usually.
Braggart.
Yeah, right. But I did only one night on the tour, and someone said, I couldn't believe how fast you changed that string. It was funny, but
wow.
But yeah, it's just our set moves so quick. There's no time for guitar changes.
And how long is a NewSong set?
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah. So I actually am using amps out there. Nullatone. I endorse Nullatone amps, Tyler amps, and J. Chester amps. So I got like 3 companies.
How do you do that? Drummers can't get 3 different drum companies to endorse them.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, I think people see the heart in what we do, and they want to have their stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a guy's building me a Stratocaster now, a relic from Glory Guitars.
Really?
He's a Christian guy.
Uh-huh.
He makes Phil Joel's bass. His bass is for him.
Okay.
And Newsboys. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just one of those things. I searched for him. I've had string. I don't have a string company now, but I've been through about 3 of them the last 15 years. That's the hardest thing to get for some reason. I'm trying to work with Ernie Ball, but no one's calling me back right now.
Really?
Yeah. But it's all right.
Who was the guy that just died? String
guy?
Yeah.
Ooh, man.
What's the Ernie Ball? What's the other?
Diodario?
Diodario.
Is it Diodario?
Yeah.
I love their strings. They're
He
good
just
too.
passed.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to hook you up.
Oh, really?
I have a friend who works for Diodario.
Okay. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just kind of like, we go to the NAMM show, we meet people, and we just like share our stuff with them. This is what we do. And if they understand it, then they're willing to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And we play for 15 to 20,000 people a night, so.
Did you go to NAMM this year?
No, I didn't. We were working.
Yeah.
So.
I missed it myself. But Summer NAMM, you'll be around, right?
Yeah, I think so, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of endorsements, man. But
yeah, and then I got pedal endorsements as well.
Yeah.
I got 1964 ears, which are amazing. They're Adele's. They're just super great ears. And, what else? I mean, just random things. But yeah, it's been good. I've been blessed. So, how much time do we have?
Yeah, that's killer. That's killer. Well, we got about 5 minutes to wind down here. Is that?
Can I share something?
Yeah, show me something. Yeah,
I just wanted to, and it's related to our work, I think, and what we do in life. And so this is something I've been reading out of this book, Disciplines of a Godly Man, which we've gotten together on the road, and I've had like Bible study with this, or just small group kind of talk, about certain things. But I was reading this, and it's just, I can truly relate this, but it's big hearts, the enlarged hearts that God uses, are laboring hearts which, though weary, will willingly be expended as necessary. You may fancy that you have a ministering heart, but if you are not laboring for the gospel in the place where God is put you, and do not find yourself being inconvenienced by your commitment, you are deluding yourself. Ministering hearts are disciplined to labor, for they regularly move beyond their comfort zone. They put themselves in vulnerable spots. They make commitments which cost. They get tired for Christ's sake. They pay the price. They encounter rough seas, but their sails billow full of God's Spirit.
Beautiful.
So I think that's...
And that, what's the name of that book again? And who's the author?
It's by Kent Hughes, Disciplines of a Godly Man.
And you guys do group studies on the road with that?
Yeah, we were working out of that book. It's just, sometimes guys get together and say, hey, let's meet up one day a week and, just talk through some chapters. We went through practically the whole book. So, but so a lot of ministry going on out there.
A lot of ministry.
Yeah, it's cool.
To groups, big groups, small groups, and individual.
And Jam Church on the Sundays. We have church.
Really?
Yeah. So we have every artist on the church takes turns worshiping, and then our speakers will speak. They rotate. So we get church too.
In the arena that you're playing, you'll play that night?
Yep.
You do it out front or backstage or what?
Backstage in a room. We find a big room somewhere.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
They get on the bus and go, wake up.
Yeah.
Go to church.
Yes.
What?
Yes. What? Yeah. So, man, that's what's going on in my life,
That's great, man. And when do you leave again?
We're leaving, this week. Actually, we have a 3-day week coming up, which is rare. We have a few of those, but so probably Thursday night. We'll do a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But typically we leave like Wednesday every week.
I would think maybe that you guys would work more this week because I think it's spring break everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Spring break here, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know about other states or anything like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Be a great time to work. But
yeah, man. Yeah, it is.
Well,
so people are off, right? They come in.
Yeah.
Come in, yeah.
And parents are always looking for something to do with their kids.
Yeah.
Spring break.
They're out of school.
Yeah. So it would be a perfect thing to do. But
sure.
So tell me, where are you going this week?
I could tell you.
Okay.
Right here.
So that the listeners can catch you.
Yeah, we've had a crazy schedule. So we're going to. I'm sorry. I don't have my schedule pulled up here.
Well, anyway.
Well, yeah, we're going to Columbia, South Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, South Haven, Mississippi.
There you have it,
it.
folks.
Woo!
Go.
Did it.
Get Winter Jam. Say hello to Rico. Thanks for coming, man.
Thank you, man. Amen.
Peace.
Bless you, brother.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al DiMeola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.